Hey, Stellan Cousins. You already know what time it is. Na-na-na-na. Animated horror stories. Na-na-na. Animated horror stories. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Mm-hmm. All right. You already know what time it is. But where are we at, though? That's the main question. We are at Mr. Creepy House. What do you got? Don't open the door. Mmm. Don't open the door. It says, well, what? With real footage. Meaning what? This is about to be really based on a true story out here. You know? I'm here for it. As I always say, feel free to go over to their channel. Go over to Mr. Creepy House. Subscribe, like some videos, come back. This was from 10 days ago. You could watch something that they posted right now. And let's get up in here. Please go grab a blunt, grab a bottle of water, grab a bag of chips, and grab a blanket to stay snug. Okay? I'm excited. I want to see what's going on. Is it at the beginning? He's gonna say it. I just want to say it for him. Oh, we don't got it on this one? Okay. Well, usually he throws in a little, this is for adults and everything is loosely based, inspired on true events, but no one was physically or emotion mentally harmed, all of that. And if your eyes ain't grown, don't be watching it. I just want to add it up in here for him because I know he be posting it. Hmm. Sir, why?
Clowns have always brought us a sense of weirdness and horror. And it might even get worse when one of them shows up on your porch and tries to break into your house.
I'm sure.
That day, Olivia was home alone. She was lying on her bed and texting with Alex, just a random guy she met online recently. Mom called and told her to check the doors carefully before going to bed.
Okay.
Mom was right to be worried. In the past few days, there had been people disguised as creepy clowns wandering off the streets. But anyway, those cases were reported from South Carolina, while Olivia's house was in Illinois. Those
Girl,
idiot clowns would never come to this neighborhood.
Don't forget to double check the window. Mom, I got it. I'm 17.
But
I'm not
though?
a child anymore.
Olivia was a little annoyed because her mother kept treating her like a child. After a few minutes, she hung up the phone. Just as Olivia was about to return to her room, there was a sudden knock on the front door.
Who could be here at this time?
The damn clown.
So annoying.
She mumbled while
gonna
getting
let
to
that
the
scare me, that
door,
knock.
but
Nobody
when
knocked
she
on my
looked
door.
through the peephole on the door, there was no one outside. It must be the bratty kid Tony next door with his new trick,
Ain't no
she
damn
thought, and walked up the stairs. Then came the knock again, and this time it made Olivia really angry. She crept to the door, preparing to swing it open and scold the boy. But when she looked through the peephole again, Olivia jumped in fear. On the outside, there was a wide-open, bloodshot eye. It was so close to the peephole. There was no kid outside, but a man in a clown costume. He was staring at the peephole at the same time Olivia was. And not only did he stare in, but he was also grinning weirdly, waving his hand and banging on the door repeatedly. After a while, the breaking in failed, and he suddenly left the house. Thinking he had given up, Olivia breathed a sigh of relief. But just a few seconds later, she saw his shadow flickering through the window.
No.
He was heading towards the kitchen. He repeatedly turned the doorknob, but still could not get in. He didn't stop, but continued to walk towards the back door. Oh my God! Olivia couldn't remember whether she locked the back door
Girl,
or
go
not.
back.
Frightened and trembling, Olivia ran upstairs looking for somewhere to hide. She didn't dare get near any door because the clown was out there and he might catch her. No room seemed safe enough, she thought, her hands shaking as she dialed the phone. But damn, it already ran out of battery power. Olivia burst into tears. She had never felt so scared and helpless. Now that the clown got into the house, she could clearly hear his footsteps from downstairs. The clown was holding a knife in his hand, walking around slowly in the living room. He had just whistled, echoing through the quiet house, scaring Olivia even more. Something had fallen to the ground. Olivia covered her mouth not to make a peep. She was afraid to death. The clown slowly walked along the hallway, opening every door he passed. And then he suddenly sped up toward the stairs, coming up with sick and twisted ideas. Deadly silence. Olivia could no longer hear anything but the sound of her heart pounding wildly.
Girl, relax.
She was about to open the door.
Why would
but
you?
The footsteps came again. Now he was right in front of Olivia's room and opened the door. The half-open wardrobe caught his attention. He gave a wry smile and crept over.
You're not in there, right?
He opened the wardrobe, but there was no one inside.
Period.
Olivia was under the bed. She didn't dare to even breathe heavily, only focused on his feet moving around. The clown was so close, step by step. He walked towards the bed where the panicking girl was hiding. Her whole body was petrified, so much that she couldn't even move an inch. Until the police cordoned off the entire house and found Olivia shivering under the bed, still alive. The clown had run away, and the police never found him. Olivia's mom was the one to dial 911 right after she checked the security camera and saw that her daughter was in danger. When looking back at what the camera recorded, Olivia still couldn't help but shake in fear.
Should've listened to your mom over here wanting to complain and shit. She told you to lock them damn doors and windows. What are you doing?
This man appeared in front of a girl's house. He used a knife and tried to open the door.
You
What will
stupid
happen
bastard.
next? That footage inspired the following story, which serves as an alert warning to girls living alone. You should be careful because one day, perverts can appear and be your guest at any time.
No, they can't. They really can't.
The story started after Alice broke up with her boyfriend and started
Women get
living
licensed.
alone. One night in the evening, I suddenly received a call from her. She was now sobbing.
Taylor, he really left me.
Girl. Get off
Oh,
my phone with this
Alice,
shit.
it's okay. I'll be right
I
there
told
with
what
you.
was going on.
I comforted her and got in the car. I could tell from Alice's voice that she was really devastated about the breakup thing. Alice and Charles had been together for over 2 years, and a dozen times she told me that they were really broken up. I just waited until they got back together about 1 to 2 weeks later. But this time it was different. I lived quite far from Alice's house, about 30 minutes by car. On my way there, I received a phone call from Alice.
Hey, are you on the way yet? Can you stop by 7-Eleven for more whiskey? I need more alcohol. What? How much have you been drinking? Don't ask too much. Just get it.
And then she hung up the phone, and there was no way I'd buy her more whiskey. About 10 minutes later, I got another call from her.
Taylor, don't come here. Don't.
Her shaking whisper scared me,
Why not, girl?
What happened?
but she hung up the phone before I could finish my question. I drove faster to get to her. Finally, I was on her porch. I rang the doorbell and called Alice, but she didn't open the door, nor did she pick up the phone. I tried opening the door, and to my surprise, it was not locked, so I went inside the house. The living room was a mess, with a lot of furniture broken on the floor. Everything was uncomfortably quiet. I nervously called out.
Alice, where are you?
No one answered.
Alice,
And then there was a voice saying,
I'm upstairs. Come up here.
I
No.
breathed a sigh of relief. That was Alice, so I rushed to her
Was
room.
it though?
Now I was standing in her room. Before my eyes was a horrible scene that I would never forget.
Not Alice.
Alice was there, but she was lying on the ground in a pool of blood. The skin on her face had been peeled off, leaving red flesh on her face.
Oh.
Terrified by the horrifying scene, I shivered. Who did this? And who answered me earlier? I knew I was in danger in this house. I wanted to get close to Alice, but I was afraid that the
Not that
one
damn
mimicking
close.
her voice might come out and give me the same ending as my friend. I slowly stepped back. The only word now in my head was run, which was the only thing I could do. I turned around and tried to run as fast as I could. While escaping, I could hear his footsteps echoing behind me. He was chasing me.
Don't run, Taylor. Wait for me.
I was startled when I heard
Nasty
Alice's
bastard.
voice again, but behind me was a guy with a small body. He was wearing Alice's face skin with blood and hair
he's
on
a sick
it.
bitch, y'all.
He was staring at me.
Sick.
In his hand
Bastard.
was a long, sharp knife, still stained with Alice's fresh blood. He was the one
Ew.
who imitated Alice's voice.
That's her
In this
ex-man?
situation, I was too numb
You
to
don't want to
think
be
of
with
an
me
escape
anymore, so
plan.
I'ma beat you?
So then I turned to run. Fortunately, when he was close to chasing me, I was able to get out the door and get into the car.
Good
He reached
shit.
my car while I
You
was
locked it,
trying to
though?
start the engine.
You locked it?
He swung the knife and repeatedly hit the
Oh,
windshield.
But
But fortunately, I backed up in time
ew,
and
you see the
drove
blood
away.
dripping in his eye? How
Looking
can
in the
you even
rearview mirror,
see?
I could see him still standing in Alice's yard, staring after my car.
That's
I
sick.
immediately picked up the phone and called 911. The police rushed to the scene, but the murderer had escaped.
That's
So
her
they found the
ex-boyfriend.
camera footage at Alice's home and tried to figure out how he approached Alice and murdered her. According to the camera, that man went to Alice's door and rang the bell incessantly. Alice went to the door, but she didn't open it immediately and asked who he was first. Now he used his voice-imitating talent to pretend to be Alice's ex-boyfriend.
No way.
I'm your little Daisy. Please open the door for me.
No way.
Alice, who was already too drunk to think, opened the door for him. As soon as she opened it, she rushed to hug him thinking it was her boyfriend.
No way.
Only when he let out a savage laugh did Alice realize that
You knew that
he
bald-ass
was
man wasn't
a
your man.
murderer. So then she was forced to do something in the house. She staggered and ran around while he gloated madly and slowly approached her. He knew for sure that no one could save Alice at that time. That sick man was scary. Alice tried to run away from him. She found a place to hide and called me after that. That was the short warning call. But it was not difficult for the killer to find out and murder her. He then skinned her face and put it on his.
That's disgusting.
According to the police, this was the first case to happen here, and the murderer seemed to have been following Alice for a long time. The murderer was still wanted, and I know I was also in danger. I
Can I
would
find
have to
him?
move to a safer place.
He was up in there.
Not until he was arrested could
Okay.
I sleep peacefully in my own house.
Mm-mm.
I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously. Yeah, that's when you really shook me.
The footage you've seen was extracted from a popular video on social media 2 years ago.
How she get him up
Inside
in
that
there?
suitcase was a man. He was, or actually used to be, the boyfriend of the girl who took the video. He was locked in there by his girlfriend for hours before he stopped breathing. Now I'll tell you the whole story. I always thought that me and my boyfriend Otis were not a good match. I was so worried about my appearance, but Otis didn't seem to care much because he loved me. There were times when we had arguments about that, but he always gave up first. I always told myself that my boyfriend could leave me at any time to follow other beautiful girls. One day, I came home from work only to find a girl in the living room laughing and talking with my boyfriend. As soon as they saw me coming home, the two of them stopped talking. That girl stood up and greeted me. I was so angry, I closed the door very hard.
Who is she?
Ah, there you are. I've already cooked dinner. Hungry?
Who is she?
I walked over and pushed the girl down to the couch. She's
my
selling
sister.
insurance, and I was listening to her. Otis came over and pulled me into
you
the
lying.
house. An insurance girl? I doubted that. She looked very beautiful, and she looked at Otis with loving eyes. It couldn't be that simple. That night I got mad at Otis no matter how much he explained. We went to bed earlier because I had to go to work the following morning. The next morning, when I woke up, Otis was not in the room. I went downstairs to find him sleeping on the couch, and there were long scratches on his cheeks.
Oh, what happened to you?
I panicked. Otis woke up dimly. It's nothing. Just a random cat.
Boy,
He
what?
replied and went back to sleep under the covers. So I quickly left for work without asking any more. After a long day's work, I returned home. As soon as I stood in front of the door, I heard the girls' laughter from yesterday again. I burst into the house angrily. Otis and the other girls stared at me in shock. Apparently, they had been fooling around.
I will kill you two!
I gritted my teeth, dashed into the kitchen, grabbed a sharp knife, and rushed over to the woman. Otis stood up to protect the woman. Please, get out of here! Then he used all his strength to hold me down. Calm down! Calm down!
So you ain't just getting
After
insurance.
struggling for a while and being stopped by Otis, I finally got exhausted and stopped. I told you, she's just an insurance consultant, explained Otis calmly. Of course, no way could I believe him. I just stormed out. The next morning, I woke up and again couldn't find Otis.
Otis, where are you?
I called for him, but there was no answer. Did he get fed up and leave forever? I
Girl,
tried
you
to look
should've.
for him around the house when I discovered a large suitcase in the living room.
Damn! Otis really wants to move out?
I grumbled.
He wants to leave me here!
I kicked the suitcase hard.
What's in here that's so heavy?
I said and looked down at the suitcase. I slowly unzipped the zipper, and Otis's body was gradually exposed. His entire body was broken and folded. His face was purple, and there were scratches around the suitcase.
Oh no!
Girl, you did that.
Otis!
I fell to my knees,
did that again.
trembling when I saw Otis's body. I shook him and kept calling,
Otis! Wake up! Otis!
but he didn't wake up. He was cold as ice. I burst into tears and quickly pulled out my phone and dialed
Charlie
911.
should have just zipped him up.
The police showed
Put him in
up
the
soon
car and
after.
just tossed him away.
They took me to the station to make a statement. I didn't know anything. Could anyone have harmed him that terribly? He was such a good guy. We found evidence in your phone that you were the one who killed your boyfriend, police said.
No way.
I could only utter those weak words before losing consciousness. On the second day of the crime, I found out Otis was joking with the girl, so I got jealous. After a while, Otis comforted me, and I pretended to forgive him before I asked him to play hide and seek with me.
Oh my god. How did you fit in this suitcase?
I burst out laughing when I found Otis getting into a small suitcase on his own. Right after that, thinking about the times he laughed with another girl, I decided to lock the suitcase, leaving Otis inside, crying and begging. Sarah, I'm begging you. Open it, honey.
When you were with her, did you think of me? You deserve it.
I'm begging you. I can't breathe anymore.
Girl, I am
Those
bone-tied.
were also his last words before he died, which I was so happy to hear. And that was how Otis was locked in a suitcase and suffocated. I have been identified by my doctor as a psychopath with multiple personalities. I'd been jealous and hurt Otis many times and didn't remember those times. I always thought that the woman who laughed with your boyfriend was the third wheel in my relationship. But according to that woman's testimony, she was a professional event organizer, and Otis was planning to propose to me. So even though he knew how much I hurt him, he still wanted to marry me. I really am a monster.
Yeah. Killed your whole man.
As a masseuse, I have to deal with a lot of wacky and difficult customers. But none of them were a problem to me since I always had a way to tackle them. Well,
Love you guys.
people call me
Have-
the zero complaint staff in this massage parlor, and so far, so good. I kept my streak
wow.
so well.
In reality, we seem
The manager recognized my excellent skills and offered me a promotion in the next month. So until then, I had to show more of what I had and, most importantly, keep my zero complaint streak. Welcome to Mr. Creepy Massage. I smiled and
Okay,
greeted a
we'll do this
lady
one.
who just
We
walked in.
won't do the last.
She was a new customer. She was thin and her face had a lot of wrinkles.
I would like to have the most expensive service you've got.
She grinned so wide all her yellow teeth were revealed. There was still meat and vegetables on them. She would be my next client. I told her to sit down and showed her the service packages. When I explained the first package, she threw me a disgusted smirk.
Is this all you've got? That's it? Just show me the best and the most expensive package, and we'll discuss.
Her mouth gave off a horrible stench, but I couldn't turn away. I told her to change clothes before the massage session. I didn't expect her body to be so thin. It was almost skin and bones. So when I touched her in the back, I could literally feel her bones protruding.
Come on. Live a little.
Oh no, she kept complaining. On her skin, there were a lot of white flakes of dead skin, which looked so filthy and they disgusted me. I couldn't help but shiver as I touched her skin. In the meanwhile, she suddenly grabbed my hand and said,
Can't you do it a little stronger? I want more than that.
"Sorry, ma'am, I'll try." I tried to be patient with her dirty body. Finally, the 1-hour massage session ended, and she left the room happily. So lucky for me that she did not complain about me, and I kept my professional manner until the last minute. Here came day 2 of her massage package. She appeared so grumpy. I prepared for myself a lot of strength and endurance while waiting to serve her. As soon as she finished changing and lay on the bed, I immediately sensed the stench emanating from her body because I was afraid that the dead skin might fall off her body. It made me feel nauseous. During the massage, I did not dare to rub her skin vigorously because I was afraid that the dead skin might fall off her body. It made me feel nauseous.
Harder!
She started again. I tried, but her filthy body looked too disgusting. I hesitated for a moment. Then she stood up and said,
Too bad. I will complain about you to the manager.
No, please, madam. We will find a way." If she told the manager, the promotion I was offered would be lost. So I went to the last resort to stop her complaining about me. "To make it up, we offer you a hot herbal bath." I tried to sound apologetic. Then I led her to the hot tub and put water into it. She entered the tub with a satisfied attitude, but then turned to me.
Fine, but I still have to complain. Don't you try to bribe me.
I said nothing and just smiled. A few minutes later, she started to fall asleep in the tub. I slowly pressed her head down into the tub and covered it up, then poured my secret potion in. This should be enough. About 2 minutes later, she suddenly woke up and exclaimed,
Oh, it's too hot! Lower the temperature!
I tried to push the cover of the tub down to make sure she couldn't get out. "Ma'am, the heat would be good for your skin. Don't worry." I said and tried to hold it so she couldn't jump out of the tub, even though she struggled to scream and cry. "Got to die, old granny." Watching her in pain, I was assured that no one could stop me from getting my promotion. Gradually, her body started to decompose in the tub. I quickly cleaned up and dumped everything. I stepped out of the room and reported to the manager that she had left for further medical care and would not continue the treatment. With my little trick, anyone who stands in my way or intends to complain about my attitude must keep their mouths shut. Yeah. Or I would have my way to stop them from ever speaking again.
Killing. You just out here
After
killing.
that month, I was finally promoted to the manager of this spa. If you have the time, just come here. I won't let you down, ever.
Boy, you gonna kill us. Guys, my lovelies, I will end the video here because, like I said, we did the last one. Who was it? Hospital. I'll try to tag it. And I'll be the one I try to tag because we're not doing it. I hope you enjoyed the video. The only reason why that last one's not getting done is because we already seen it. And, you know, I would have took this one out too, but I was like, you know, might as well throw it up in there. Let me know which one was your favorite. I'll say the first 3 were the cloud one, what, crazy man, and then the crazy ex-girlfriend. The first 3 was on it. I'll say out of the first 3, my favorite was probably the third one. Because, what? He's schizophrenic, and we knew you scratched that man's cheek up. We knew you was beating him. We knew that woman wasn't no damn insurance lady. But damn, he was really trying to marry you and you killed your man. Like that is your fault. That is all your fault. There's nothing but you in that situation. So yeah, that one was my favorite. Let me know which one was your favorite in the comments. What do you want to see next? And until next time, I love you guys. Bye.